one look, one word, repeated. One key notice: practice, 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 practice. Soak in, soak in, soak in, soak in. Watch and learn. Ardha Mandala is the basic posture. In Bharatanatyam, according to Natya Sastra, one of the basic mandalas, Ardha Mandala or Aramandi, is the very, very first and foremost posture. Basically, if you see the dancer's costume also, it opens up very beautifully with the fan and everything. Natya Sastra says the dancer's upper body has to be like a crescent.
This is Built by Grit, where we celebrate work, courage, and the people who never give up. Real journeys, real lessons, real grit. Let's get started. I'm your host, Deepa. Welcome back to Built by Grit, a space for persistence without pressure, dedication without force, and the quiet act of returning to your work until practice begins to feel like a play and the play becomes a meditative process. Today on Built by Grit, I am honored to welcome Srimati Akhila Subramanyam, a Bharatanatyam dancer. She began her career as a performer, performing across several stages across India and the United States. Over 2 decades ago, she established Salangai Arts in Virginia, where she has trained generations of students with an approach known for its intensity, depth, and unwavering commitment to the purity of art form. Her choreography has been widely appreciated with the dance community, with her productions, including several presented in Cleveland Aradhana Festival. Beyond the classroom, she has consistently brought distinguished gurus and dance exponents from India to her school, ensuring her students continue to learn from living lineages and evolving perspectives. Akhila breaks down the basics, the discipline, the mistakes dancers make, and how strong foundations shape confidence, creativity, and real growth. If you are a dancer, a parent, a teacher, or simply curious about classical arts, this episode will give you a whole new way to see the power of practice. Let's get into it. Mrs. Akhila Subramanyam, welcome to Built by Grit.
Thank you. Namaskaram.
Namaskaram. Before we go into the interview, can you talk a little bit about your lineage?
Sure. I have learnt Bharatanatyam from my guru Panchavarnam, who has been brought up by Devadasi family. But her guru is Srimati Bala Saraswati, the legendary prodigy Balaka.
Yes.
Yes. Her
Yes.
guru. So that is my lineage. I've learned Bharatanatyam from my guru Panchavarnam at the age of 5 in a small town in South India called Virdachala, which is near Chidambaram.
Chidambaram, yes. It's a beautiful place. I have been to the Chidambaram temple. And since you said Chidambaram, I'm sure you have experienced going to the Chidambaram festival. What was it
Oh.
like growing up for you?
Oh, absolutely. See, not just Chidambaram festival, South India is a hub, as you know. My dad was one of these temple organizing committee. He was like one
Okay.
of. There is a big festival even in Virdachalam. It's a huge temple. So
Mm.
it's a huge festivals in Masimagam, which will be usually occurring in the month of May, the March, I think. Yeah, March,
Mm.
April, March
Mm-hmm.
and April. So every year he will bring up artists like, I don't know whether you know Swarnamukhi Akka, Padma Subramanyam, Chitra
Yes.
Veswasaram,
Yes, of
all
course.
those legendary dancers. Like those days, it was like they were much more accessible in temples of South India. This is, I'm talking about in the year late 70s and early 80s. So I used to sit and watch him because my dad was one of the organizers. All the
Uh-huh.
time, we used to be in the temple, the show will go on until midnight, 12, 1.
Right.
So, yeah, it was a rich, cultural heritage hub. The city, I mean, it's not even the city, it's a small town where I brought up.
Correct.
And our ultimate aim, we used to dance in nearby temples, but ultimate goal is for my guru and others is to get a Natyanjali slots.
Uh,
That is in Chidambaram. Those days, those
Chidambaram.
slots are very, very difficult to get in. It is not like today. Today, when you apply, if you have a decent credibility, yes, you get half an hour slots. And that too many divisions inside the temple, outside the temple, and a lot of things. But when we went, like probably like let's assume Paduka gets 1.5 hour slots, like for a beginner kind of like young teacher, and our group probably will get 20 minutes slot the first year. Then second year we get 40 minutes slot. Then 1 hour. So it's getting a slot itself is like it's a privileged one and a prestigious one. So yes, we have
Absolutely.
time danced in Chidambaram Natyanjali. So it's a great memorable time. Like at least I know I've started dancing in Natyanjalis when I was young, at least from 7th grade to 12th grade, consistent.
Wow, wow,
Yeah,
wow. And have you actually ever gone back to Chidambaram after you moved to US, or did you ever take
absolutely.
your children or your students to Chidambaram?
Absolutely. We have actually, I have been several times after that, but
Mhm.
then at, at 2017, a couple of my parents were interested who really wanted to get into Natyanjali. This is pre-COVID. So I
Mm,
took
mm.
10, we got into Natyanjali slots. We danced in Chidambaram Natyanjali, Mayavara Mailaduthurai Gopala Krishna Bharati Festival, and we
Mhm.
also danced in Kumbakonam and Tanjavur. So
Oh, wow.
it was a great, memorable, fun trip. And the students, I could see there is an incredible change once you go and come back. So I
Come
don't know.
back.
That's what they say, right? Like our art is the way of life. You know,
True.
the inheritance, language, spirituality, I don't know, whatever you call it is. So when you take them to native place, there is a change. I have to admit that. Making them dance in the temples gave a change in the whole attitude and the way they express their emotions and the life or soul which they are attaching to it. It did help because I heard
Amazing.
these ISKCON people, they all come and stay in India to learn any art. I never thought about it why they have to do that, but then when I experienced it, I realized how much it was helpful taking them there.
Mm. That's a really good aspect that you shared. Really appreciate that. You trained under Guru
Panchavarna.
Panchavarnam. And you also said that
Mm.
she's a direct disciple of Hala Saraswati. I don't think I have met anybody from that lineage. You're the first person. And I'm sure there are strong values from that lineage that still live through you. I would like to learn a little bit about, what are some of the values that your gurus and her gurus potentially, like your Paramaguru, might have imparted in you and you would like to share with us.
Absolutely. It is like, I don't think so. We are either inheriting or teaching the, I mean, we are teaching the techniques and core values, but the methodology which they followed day in and day out, it
Mm.
was totally different. It was not like, see, the classes we, every day, 5 o'clock, I get up and we had an uniform, yellow and
Oh, okay.
red salwar, yeah, kurta, whatever.
Yeah,
Salwar
yeah.
run, basically, with the red dupatta. 5 o'clock, we have to get up and go to the class
In the
every day.
morning.
In the morning, no
Okay.
parents will drop. It is like the 2 streets away. So we just get up, yeah, brush our teeth and be there probably 5:15, 5:30, I don't know. So, and then we'll come back by 7.
Mm.
There is no batch, there is no set schedule for you. All the
Ah,
students, we all will dance adavus, like starting from Tattadavu to Alaripu, everybody has to do. And then,
okay.
yeah, everybody has to do. I don't remember 2025. I don't remember how many students we had. It was open terrace. Every day we have to do. And then once in a blue moon, Akka will call us and say, "Come here." Okay. See, we might get some new step, new choreography, new adavu.
Ah,
Or yeah, so let's say I have learned Alaripu, I have learned Jatiswaram, I have learned only two korvais. The third korvai I have to get new. I have to do Alaripu, I have to do Jatiswaram. Then when it comes to that point, every day, even when I dance, I just have to go back. We don't know what kind of corrections or what it is. All they have to, I remember saying my guru is, if there is a mistake, go back. I don't know why I'm going back. You know what I'm saying? But I repeatedly practice. But then suddenly one day we will get a new choreography and Akka will say, good. That
mm.
good is like a golden or platinum, whatever, or a precious moment we used to have. But I didn't realize how strong it was, to be honest. But then later on, when I started teaching, I realized how much we have got without even saying anything. You know what I'm saying? Without explicitly saying what I have got, is actions, through their discipline, through the disciplinary actions which they have showed to us or how they inherited.
Mm.
It is amazing. They don't have to just say every now and then all the corrections are criticism. One look, one word, repeated. One key notice: practice, 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 practice. Soak in, soak in, soak in, soak in. Watch and learn. For example,
Ah, ah.
watch and learn. For example, we used to go and perform in the nearby temples and everything. We learned one kirtanam, Natanam Adinar. I have not taught that. So I was sitting and watching somebody else's dancing. But that Akka has become sick. So when I remember the girl's name,
Oh,
Kavita, she became sick. That girl, whoever is. I was sitting and watching. She wanted to add one more girl. Akhila, get up and dance.
oh my God.
In Tamil. எழுந்து ஆடு.
Yeah. Ah.
I didn't learn this. What you didn't learn? Every day you are watching. Can't you do this?
Wow. That was the expectation. Watching is not enough. You have to observe
You
what
have
they're
to
doing.
observe and learn. So it's a different methodology. We can't even compare that. I don't know whether it is even applicable here nowadays because
Mm,
that
mm,
kind of time we don't have. First of all, we used to go 7 days a week, every day.
mm,
So it is very
mm,
different. Yes, we can cherish the moment. We can inherit at least the core value, what I say is discipline, which we have
mm.
all got. Like any martial art, any structured classical art, even in US, this day and age, this discipline is so important, very much important to become a good, graceful dancer or yeah, pleaseful
And
dancer.
yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. I completely actually understand. I am learning Veena from my guru, and my guru is almost 81 years old. And his senior disciple is the one who teaches me the basics. And one of the things that she tells me all the time is like when I was learning the composition from Sir, there was no verbal conversation. He will play, I will play again. And he's not going to say, you made this mistake, correct it here, or this gamakam is wrong. None of that. There is no conversation. He will play, you repeat, he will play, he'll keep on repeating until you get it. And he's not going to tell you what is wrong, but you just have to keep repeating. And I completely understand what you're saying because I'm currently following that methodology. It's like we don't talk in the class. No analyzing, no trying to figure out what could have gone wrong, how can I fix it. Just don't use your brain, rather just listen, use your ears, listen and play, and it'll eventually come. But you just have to repeat until you get it.
Yeah. Yeah, on that note, I would like to share one more thing because I know today we are learning a lot of theories. Even I own, I also teach theories, and we are
Hmm.
part of the like grade level exams, Silicon Andhra, the Arya University exams, all
Yes.
that. I also insist composition study, and I mean that's a maybe a later topic for you. But then what I'm saying is when I originally, first time, let's say when I picked my Natvangam, first time learning Natvangam or theory, I met another dance teacher in New York, like who was that time probably like 50 years
Mm,
experience, not just 50 years old or whatever. I met her and asked her, Auntie, what do you insist for me because I'm running a school and I'm teaching. She said, Amma, just get up and dance when you're young.
mm.
Dance, dancing more. Yes, you have to understand, you have to learn theory, you have to do everything. But don't stop dancing. Don't start analyzing. Keep dancing. Then go back to it and understand. If you are just, you know what I'm saying, like just making a dosa, take the dough and put it. Don't make an analyze like 6 inch. I be in the center. You have to put a dosa circularly. It's not like that, right?
Mm,
Good. Observe and learn. That is the first step for any art. First of all, art is there is no perfect art. Art
yeah.
doesn't have no perfection. Art is something which has to touch the soul. Nobody is perfect. Me, you, or anybody. It's observing and learning is the first basic lesson we all learned.
No, that's a wonderful, wonderful concept. I think what happens is like all of us, some of we are trained to be an engineer, like we are trained to be analytical, and we try to kind of like bring that mindset into art, and that is such a contrast to how you should actually be approaching art. Art, just turn off your analytical mind if you can. That's the first approach, I guess. Since you mentioned basics, and then we are on the topic of like building the basics, why Aramandi matters. Aramandi is something every Bharatanatyam student hears from day one and often struggles with it for years. Why is this Aramandi so fundamental, not just physically, but artistically? Why is it so important?
Ardha Mandala is the basic posture in Bharatanatyam, according to Natya Sastra or Abhinaya Darpana. One of the basic mandalas, Ardha Mandala or Aramandi, is very, very first and foremost posture.
Mm.
Basically, if you see the dancer's costume also, it opens up very beautifully with the
Mm.
fan and everything. Natya Sastra says the dancer's upper body has to be like a crescent.
Mm.
Lower body has to be. Aramandi is actually you are have to be completely turning out your hip, and your shin has to be in V. Knee has to point to the room corners. Your upper body, the hands have to be a crescent. On the note, my teacher doesn't teach Alaripu until our body naturally turns out a crescent. We
Mm.
begin Natyarambam straight, aligned with shoulders, right? It has to, the elbows have to curved to the room point, back room pointers, and automatically you don't artificially make a box or artificially curl it. While you strengthens your upper arm, naturally it curves it.
Mm.
So she comes when we are doing advice, she comes in a in a whatever circle, like a she walks around between the rows, and she says she just touches with the tatakari, the elbows, just lifts up and says, "Okay, Akila, your hand is now curled and rounded." In Tamil, she says that. Okay, I'll start teaching Alari.
Mm.
Until then, get Alaripu. The same way, until your posture is not, it is Tandava aspect of Shiva, the flat feet movement. Aramandi matters, and the core has to be controlled to keep your body in
Mm.
Aramandi to do a lot of nritta, the basic building blocks and footwork and adavas, which is also beautiful. And upper body awkwardness or the loosening your core will not help to make you sit in Aramandi.
Mm.
Aramandi is very important to the first 10 to 12 years. Aramandi, basic techniques, a dancer has to learn very, very correctly. The grace and emotions and other aspects of Bharatanatyam comes over the age, based on the compositions, based on the understanding. Some people get it at the age of 5, some people get it at the age of 8, somebody get it, it's really
Mm.
later. It is like a
Mm.
math, you gets it at the first time, somebody doesn't. But certain aspects, emotions and abhinaya and bhava or expressions, or understanding the sthayi, the stable emotion of the composition, comes through the age. But if
Mm.
you do your basic building block, Aramandi, or your angles, or your alignment, or your basic footwork, or your nritta, if somebody is not correcting that basic in the first 5 years, it is gone, according to me. You have to relearn to make you as a beautiful dancer or a good dancer to showcase yourself.
You think it's easier for children to get that compared to adults? Like, let's say I am beginning to come back to Bharatanatyam lately as an adult student. It's not easy for me. My knees talk to me fairly quickly as like, watch out, woman. So you think it's much easier for kids to get it than the adults? If that's the case, what can an adult student do to build that strength to, get that perfect Arimandi posture?
Absolutely. I think it's a very valid question because as I have also started recently, few adults batches.
Mm.
Yes, it is definitely easier when you're young, as any other art, any other physical
Yes.
workout or even sports, right? So it is easier. That too, this is a Bharatanatyam. When we are concentrating more on the core and the lower part of your body, absolutely. But a good athlete, as you say, if you have a good physical fitness, that is easy. Again, the knee, that's a very, very valid question. What I am trying to insist, I teach slightly differently for the adults as well as
Okay.
the younger ones. So with the younger ones, let's say they are doing the adavas in 3 speeds for several months to get the strength, but adults don't have that kind of time, honestly, to be
Mm.
practical.
Yeah.
But I don't want them to, just because they are doing Bharatanatyam, I don't want them to lose their form and dance Bharatanatyam.
Yes.
For that, then why Bharatanatyam? They should just go to the semi-classical. But
Yes.
how to balance these two? What I do is, Aramandi doesn't have to be Aramandi. Maybe we are doing it like two-third. You know what I'm saying? How much
Uh-huh.
ever
Yes.
slowly do some stretches, like do all the toxin removes, do Surya Namaskar. Slowly it's getting better for them.
Uh,
Every day they do whatever's in first and second speed. For example, Tattadavu 1 first speed, Tattadavu 2 second speed, Tattadavu 3 again first speed, Tattadavu 4 in second speed. I have a methodology laid out for them which works for them. 1.5 years, we recently, as I mentioned, we had an annual show. 1.5 years learned that we introduced and taught a small kriti for them, like Pinakshi Thais. Some simple kirtanam, 5-minute one, where I don't expect Adaval to jump and loops or Utplavna Adavas. We don't teach them Mandi Adaval to start off with. So basically,
So
build
Mandi
them.
Adavu is the just to clarify, Mandi Adavu is the one where you the full Mandi, like you are
Full
almost on the yeah sitting on the floor with just your toes lifted like this, right? Okay.
Yeah. So, but that is possible for an young adult, like somebody is physically fit and they have other forms of dance, or they are fit, or they are. But somebody who is like 45 and above, they're just starting. They have, they have not worked out for years. It's
Hmm.
not good. I don't want them to break their knees because they are interested in learning Bharatanatyam. So we have to do a workaround. And at that age, what we can cater is the Sthayi Bhava, the stable emotion. They would be able to execute it more than the younger ones
Yeah.
quickly. So they
Right.
understand, because the way of life, the spirituality, the mythological stories, everything, they would be able to understand it better. But just because they have to do gracefully, I don't want to make Bharatanatyam turning into Bollywood, like jumping around, leaping around, expressing. So you have to strengthen your movement with the core tightness. Yes, you don't have to sit Aramandi like a child, but your form has to be there while executing the movements. Know what I mean?
Makes
Gracefully.
sense.
So how an adult learning after 45 Vishnu Sahasranamam or bhajan or sloka,
Hmm.
if they start learning, it has to be soulful. When they learn Meenakshi, they have to imagine and Meenakshi and see with the core control and execute. So whatever they could do.
Hmm.
So there is a lot more challenging while teaching an adult when they are really coming later, but everybody deserve to learn this beautiful art. So
Yes.
definitely we have different methodology and techniques to be followed while teaching the adults without injury or whatever.
Right, right. Thank you. You mentioned Adavus several times. In your view, what are Adavus really training beyond the movement? What's happening when I learn Adavu? What am I learning? Is it just movement or is it more to it?
Oh, it is much more than to it. It's otherwise are, as I mentioned, the building blocks, strengthening, and as well as when you do a padam or javali, it's different. But when you are learning a kirtanam nowadays, there is lot of core wise which has to be executed, and rhythm plays a major role. Like
Hmm.
previous days. So if you have to, even the same line, for example, if you say
Mm-hmm.
Shiva Kirtanam, Shiva, so how would you, we cannot always just walk around and show Shiva postures these days. How he danced, when you're trying to show, yes, there is appropriate, Adavu core wise have to be set as needed without ruining the musicality of this. So when you set all those, adavas have to be executed with the posture to make it vibrant and beautiful. So
Hmm.
without basic building blocks, I don't think so. Bharatanatyam is, as you all know, Nritta, Abhinaya, and Nritya. Together is Natyam. We cannot leave one over the other.
Absolutely. Thank you. Do you believe a dancer ever truly finishes learning Adavus or do they evolve as the dancer evolves?
For lifetime, no finishing. You need another lives to learn. See, we are just defining what we have got from our ancestor or our artist, our exponents, or our gurus, whatever you call. We are just somebody already, we have got everything. We have inherited from our gurus. We are not finding out anything. We are just little bit adapting, refining, modifying according to the political, social, economical requirements to make it pleasing or reachable to audience.
Right, right.
Otherwise, it can be creative. Definitely, it can be creative. But everything there is, see, you can write creatively an essay, but you have to have a good vocabulary.
Yeah. No, that
It's
makes
as
sense.
simple as that.
Since you touched on today's world and how we need to cater to today's, environment, I was thinking about this. Like today, many students, they want to move quickly, right? They want to learn choreography, they want to perform, they want to get on the stage as quickly as possible. Unfortunately, parents also have that expectation, from the early ages of the kids. Why, in that context, two questions. How do you approach when parents come to you? That's part one. And part two, how do you make sure you tell them that even if they go on the stage and perform, they still have to come back to basics. They have to come back, return to the basics. Returning to the basics is essential. Even more for even for the advanced dancers, they still have to come back. So how do you, I guess, make sure that happens in your career?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Because I know I've learned only one margam to teach so many students today, but that is not the case. Audience doesn't have, first of all, patience to see a Chauka Kala Varnam for 45 minutes. And but again, however, are we going to go and entertain audience what they want, or are we going to educate without changing the values? We have to
Hmm.
balance between the two. At the same time, as you said, the students don't have time. They have many activities, especially who are learning here. They are not going to take this as full time. But however, they want to have this as a cultural attache. That is what I am seeing in a lot of
Hmm.
places in America. And we are also in a position, we have responsibilities to inherit the right technique and the right way. Just because a parent come and ask, I had this experience when I begin my classes,
Hmm.
not anymore. Because I have set an expectation to
Expectation.
my
Yeah.
parents, okay, how to learn what is good and what is the right way. Because I am in a position, if I don't say that or educate that, that is my responsibility and job. I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to give what my, like a little child, right? My child will always want a chocolate cookie, chocolate drink, and we won't give that every time. However, this is also a business. This is also a school. We are answerable to the society and community. But I think the way we educate them, strike a balance, not like it is not too slow, at least 2 or 3 choreos. I am able to.
Hmm.
So I don't have to teach them in a year, maybe small ones.
Hmm.
Let's say what I'm saying is every day, every class mandatory we have at least 15 minutes or 20 minutes of adava practice. Because
Uh-huh.
without form, if I teach a Kautuvam, they are going to go in stage formless. I can't myself see. There is no beauty in it. When you wear a costume, decked up for 2 hours, all your fans are struck and your knees are coming forward, there is a basic value for your Bharatanatyam, right? Like which as an audience or art practitioner I'm not able to appreciate, then I feel
Right.
I'm doing injustice. But however, I cannot say, okay, until you do 100% Aramandi, 100% lines, I cannot say that I cannot move on to the next choreo,
Hmm.
because sustenance is very, very important for the cross cultural kids. That is also a responsibility.
Hmm.
So it is very, very challenging and hard to strike a balance. But what I try to do personally is basically, let's say I teach a Pushpanjali, which
Mm-hmm.
is 5 minutes, which is vacatory. But I don't suddenly jump around and go and teach Varnam or a bigger Kirtanam
Hmm.
or a Tilana or a Padam or Jaulire. I try to do, let's say we do one Muruga Kautam, then let me teach one Natesha Kautam, like the postures of Shiva. You will try to make it more interesting, more
Hmm.
creative. So
Hmm.
tell the stories of this god and see what are all the hands they've learned in the previous one. Make it slightly different to this one.
Different. Yeah.
And yeah, so that even the audience can understand, right? Like, so if it is, so don't say, if they are not able to do or take a bigger core wise set on a Kautuam, then make simplify it, make them under, make give it to them in a way where they can understand. So
Right.
that is the only way we can keep the sustenance. Yes, we cannot say that we can teach only one item for whole year. That is not going
Hmm.
to work, and that is actually not motivating. So there are little bit here and there some imperfections. Compromise and look at the bigger picture. Teach both songs, repeat it many times,
Hmm.
multiple practices, and then finally they themselves will get get it better. And again, put additional classes, extra classes. These are the, if you want to see a better, visual
Outcome.
art from them, then yeah, extra effort is definitely needed,
Got it.
yeah, to
Got
make it
it.
interesting. But that is a very common concern nowadays, because things change, idea change, we
Yeah.
have to develop perspective, and we cannot say no, this is how it is. Then you're not helping the community, or not patronizing the art, and you shying away from your responsibilities or not.
Did you ever have a conversation with your guru about how her gurus might have taught, and how your guru had to change it for your generation.
Absolutely. But
Imagine
the thing is, we were not in a position to ask
to
this,
ask.
to be
That's
honest,
my question.
to
Yeah.
ask. Here, the students are asking when I teach
Mm.
a simple dance drama, there are kids who have the capabilities. Suddenly, someone will come and say, Auntie, you didn't give me any role. They had
Ah,
the guts and to go and approach the teacher. We were more approachable. I don't think so. I could ever ask, and
yes.
I have never asked personally. And we did accept whatever. I don't say that is right. We did accept whatever has been taught, but then I didn't want to keep that way to my students. That is one of the reasons when they are practicing dance, when they are young, we encourage them positively. When they are growing old, yes, they have to accept certain criticism,
Yeah.
right? But they have to so, but that is only in the dance part. In the break or whenever they can come and talk, they should be able to talk to me anything. And if they say that 5 times I teach something and they don't understand, I still be able to patiently teach them 10 times. That kind of
Right.
compromise or mindset I have to develop.
Right.
As a teacher, as a giver, you have to be patient. You have to adapt to from Gen X to whatever the generation right now. You have to learn. That's what I'm saying. So they were giving it us based on that day what is needed in the society. We have to adapt ourselves to sustain the art to the generation and understand. Basically, we don't have
Mhm.
to change the values, but we have to understand and inherit the values in the way they understand
Mhm.
as much as you can.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, that is definitely, we are definitely in this like challenging transition time frame, because you still have the core values of your gurus, but you're, dealing with the kids who are like 6 years old, 5 years old, and completely come from a, such a different mindset, and they question everything. They have no barriers, right? Like they are out there asking all
Yeah.
kinds of questions. So you have to balance it, and it's extremely challenging. I can completely understand that.
Again, again, I'm going to the culinary arts or whatever. Like, so it is basically a food which is given how traditionally cooked in a vessel and gave the same food, but then now whatever the modern equipment there, but the taste is the
Yes.
same.
Yes, exactly. I'm curious, do you still personally, you, Akhila, do you practice Adavas and Aramandi on your own on a regular basis? And what is your practice like right now that you are a guru with a busy schedule?
Honestly, I'm not getting as much as time I used to get, but I do my yoga, my stretches, I practice my padams and javalis, and
Ah,
I'm not
nice.
perform performing full marga. If
Mm,
I have to, absolutely. I have to practice a day, 2 hour. Without practicing, I don't think so I can get on stage.
mm, mm.
Even to because my adult students ask me, Akila, can you come and dance with me? See, I am right now teaching. If I have to dance with you, I definitely have to practice. Otherwise, your brain fog is there, your memory loss is there, your mind is not the same. I have to practice more than my students if I have to keep up with them.
Yes. Yes. And performance
Absolutely.
is different from actually teaching, right? Like it's the mindset and how you think about it is it's different. You have to work differently for teaching versus actually getting on the stage and performing. Uh,
Absolutely. Absolutely. All the great performers are not great teachers.
Teachers,
All the great teachers, great performers. If you have both qualities, it is a blessing. Yes, you could be both
both,
because we were once upon a time
right?
performed hundreds of stages. It's just that at the age of 50, little bit deteriorating
Right.
doing it. But if keep up your practices, yes, you would be able to perform. But that again, it is a commitment. When you have so many students, you have to commit to make the dances, create the dances as a solo repertoire. If you see Natunas, none of them got up and danced.
Mm,
They make
mm,
the dances. It is a solo repertoire. We are creating clones nowadays.
mm,
Either they dance, take the teacher or the volunteer or whoever. But it is supposed to be a solo repertoire. They will only join hands and teach with the Tattukari. Even my own
mm,
teacher, she doesn't
mm.
that I'm unsure.
Wow.
But they bring the Sai Bhavas according to your own anatomy and your own face expressions or
Mm.
whatever. So, for example, my anger and your anger is not the same,
Mm.
right? So
Yes.
they all join hands. Kai pidikaradu. That's what they say. You join hands. That's what an Atunar used to teach. But you bring the emotions on how your body feels or how your soul feels. You
Mm.
express.
Yeah.
It is a
Okay.
solo, not Nadatunar. A Nattuvanar has to make the dancer dance. Then they dance themselves. If you keep dancing, how are you going to teach? It is two different responsibilities.
Wow. Very good perspective. I never thought about it that way. Thank you. Thanks for sharing. The next thing that I was wondering about was what do you tell students on days when their body probably resists or the mind feels tired, but the practice still needs to be done? How do you, or how did you handle if you were ever in that situation?
Yeah, I definitely tell them just take a break,
Okay.
drink or eat whatever you like, relax. I don't like, don't beat around the bush. Just don't, if you're not getting something today, just take a break. Go sleep, fresh mind, come back tomorrow, stretch, do whatever you need to do. And slowly think about it. Break it into small portions and we'll try to work on it with them.
As a teacher, what signs tell you that a student is truly ready to move beyond basics? Not just the technical aspect, like their maturity, internal, anything internally that you notice in a student where you think, okay, this person is ready to move beyond basics.
It's a very good question. I don't think so. Everybody will have to move beyond basics. Yes,
Okay.
it can be progress. The basics are important until you die. That is
Okay.
my take. Okay, so yes, there are levels. That's why we have laid out Margam. The students are growing every year progressively and learning from the invocatory item to the ultimate pen item. So the maturity or the composition study comes in. For example, if you really have to teach, it's purely based on compositions. For example, if you take more of Tyagaraja Kirtis,
Mm-hmm.
Mukti, Moksha, Kamam, those kind of emotions and understanding has to be developed. A person can do a composition only at the age of 35. There are certain leaving everything, crossing karmic. There are certain compositions, but there are certain compositions that when they are young, you give the manifestation of the divine goddess or god and you take it and elaborate. For example, Ganesha, who is Ganesha, what is he doing? Explain about Ganesha and teach a Ganesha item is different, right? And if you talk about Lakshmi, goddesses of wealth, wealth is not just money, peace, and prosperity. Explain it and giving is different. But then attaining salvation, crossing karmic path, crossing the ocean of karma, these are very, very difficult. Those kind of compositions, teaching is difficult.
Mm.
So there are the maturity a teacher decides mostly on the age and their execution. Some children even love or, for example, love or shyness or whatever. There is some erotic content as we have seen in some Ashtapatis and stuff. So they have to have an understanding of at least human level. There is some mind growth at the age, right? There is certain mind maturity only they have for a 15-year-old.
Right.
Maybe they act nowadays an 18-year-old, but few girls can learn such a composition, but not everybody. Composition, the technical growth can be taught. Adavas or kirtanams and everything. But the sthai, holding the sthai is very important in a composition. Sthai is the stable emotion out of
Yes.
Navarasas. That sthai is based on the age, based on the experience, based on the mental maturity, it grows. So analyze the student and teach accordingly if they whether they are ready to take it. That is one
Mm.
way of doing. Other way of doing is just completely narrating it and think through dialogues and emotions. So
Mm.
make them sit, right? Pallavi. So teaching the dialogue techniques, like so internally there is a Pallavi. You want to do this many emotions, right? Like for example, a hero is somebody is waiting for a hero or longing for a hero. So what kind of dialogue she would say? So express through the dialogue in your mind, and that is actually it's like it is like a set emotion. It is not
Mm.
natural. When they are learning the first time, maybe it will look like a set emotion. When the right age comes, when they are doing that at the 15th time, 20th time, it will reach audience.
Mm,
A composition is, my teacher used to say, 100 times you dance a composition. On stage, you will give only 80%.
absolutely.
Same Kautvam, when you are 10 years old, you dance differently. The same Kirtanam, you dance differently. When you're 20-year-old, the same Kirtanam, you will dance differently.
Differently. Mm. It grows
So
with you.
everything you have grows, you have to soak into it, it has to grow within you.
Yeah. Can you explain just in plain words two of the words that you used just for the audience purpose? What exactly does a sthayi mean and what does a margam mean?
Yes. Sthayi is nothing but a stable emotion.
Okay.
Song, a composition has stable throughout, whether happy, sad, or longing, or anger, or depression, or whatever, Tanavarasas out of. That is the stable emotion. You have to sustain throughout. Suddenly, you can't
Mm.
like watch your eyes and say, okay, so suddenly you cannot blink eyes and make smiley face and say, this is love. So your longing, your desperation, or
Ah.
your expectation has to sustain throughout the song. Your body, your major limb notes, minor limb notes, everything has to reveal that to the audience. That is what called sthayi is about. So we really insist on composition study for
Mm.
the girls who are in the middle school. So basically, when the composition has been written, where the place where he has lived, how does the society or the social economical pressure or like comfort zone, in what kind of, what was his way of life, how he lived in that era, and what are all the words or slangs which has been used, and what
Mm.
could be, so basically word to word meaning, and overall style, the stable emotion has to be, and the musicality, the mood of the song, right? Like, so
Mm.
how
Mm.
the
Mm.
song has been whether it's
Composed.
sarcasm, whether it is, yeah, so whether it is desperation or whether it is joy or bhakti, it has to be analyzed before teaching or setting up
Teaching.
the hands or teaching the emotions.
Got it. Got it. Got it. That makes
Yeah.
a lot of sense. And now, can you explain what margam means? What is a margam?
Margam is a structure or a path which has been set
Okay.
after Tanjore quarters. Basically,
Okay.
after the Devadasi period, after British has been abandoned, the thing is, I think people used to dance 18 items and all in a Margam before. But when the temple tradition have been switched to stage, there is a recital format set. That is pretty much
Mm.
called Margam.
Ah, I
And
see.
Vazhuvur, they start with Todayam, couple of invocations. Tanjore Quarter, they start with the Nadai and Nalaripu. And nowadays, that itself is little bit changed, right? Like, so people, the Mela, yeah, they just, in Karnataka, Mysore, they do the Mela Prapti. So the invocation
Got it. Got it. Got it.
items, of invocation item, it could be Malari, Pushpanjali, Kautum, or traditional Alaripum. Or the mid-level, no Shabdham or Jatiswaram people do. That is like the mid-level. And the centerpiece, which has all the Nritya and
Mm.
Abhinaya, everything together. Natyam is there. The more complex piece is the Varnam. And then a little bit mellow down, deeper emotions, padams, which is basically talked more on the divine and high musicality, longer charanams and more
Mm-hmm.
briga sangatis, more deeper,
Mm-hmm.
over.
Mm-hmm.
Chauka padam, more on the Mr. Chapa, most of them.
Mm-hmm.
Lot of
Mm-hmm.
padams are in. It's a slow, so sustained, that is when the sthayi will play a role.
Mm-hmm.
Take a padam and staying the sthayi in the padam is very hard. That is
Mm.
like a little more challenging for students. If we talk about Javli, most of the Javlis have been talked at the human level pretty much, I think. So, yeah, so there is no perfect definition, but then, yeah, so God is, sometimes it has been taught to, yeah, portray at the human level. Some Javlis
Understood.
are there. And then there is a child, as you said, who might not be able to execute Padam or Javli. We can also always take the Kavadi Chindas, which is more
Mm.
folkish, more fun, more happy, which is easy to students learn. Most of them would be able to get it. They don't have to too much think about the maturity.
Mm.
So, and then Tilana is the ultimate item, and then it ends in a slokam nowadays. So it's about 8 or 9 items. Again, school to school, there is a lot more,
Changes. Okay.
happened. Yeah, but at least a Margam has to have a this what my understanding after seeing so many Arangetams in America is it has to have an invocation, it has to have a center module. Depends on the maturity. There could be an Abhinay item. It could be Devarnama, it could be Padamarjavli, it could be Ashtapati, it could be any vachan or lyrics, some any Abhinay item. Nowadays, so many people nowadays lot of North influence, no, the vachan, the kavita, all
Mm,
that has have been coming in
mm,
into Bharatanatyam because we
nice.
also responsible not just teach one set of language when we live abroad, right? Like there is
Right.
several. So just to make every audience understand and reach, so we take other traditional compositions from other languages or multiple languages, right? And yeah, Handa Tilana and end with the bhajan or a sloka.
That's awesome. And
It's
thank you
called.
so much for explaining the very basics of basics. I think I definitely furthered my knowledge on Bharatanatyam overall with, with whatever we discussed in this conversation. Thank you, Akhila, again for an inspiring conversation about the dance from adavus to techniques to discipline, creativity, resilience. We touched on all the topics. Your work at Salangai Arts reminds us that strong foundation is what leads to beautiful expressions in future. Thanks again for being part of this podcast, and I look forward to having you again in future.
Thank you so much. And I loved it. It's a wonderful opportunity to talk about my insights. And thank you, Deepa. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks for joining me today. If this inspired you, please like, share, and subscribe.